didn't I didn't sleep well. I didn't want to put my other co-host in a position where they felt like they had to comment. They felt like they had to say anything at all, or that they had to have an opinion right away. Um, I think bad people or actions or demonic behavior or evil tragedy, things that happen that are senseless, happen very quickly. They happen without reason, without thought, without regard for other human capacity, without other human compassions, without other human thought patterns. And a lot of you may know that I have a psychology degree. I know this podcast is relatively new. I know a lot of you probably don't know why I call it Wheels Up, but I have a disability you guys have probably seen. So when it comes to people that are disenfranchised or misrepresented or marginalized, helpless, needing help, I have sympathy. And I think that is the best way to put this. The children involved in this tragedy were helpless in some ways. They needed help. This country needs help because the only way to combat a fire is to become a firefighter. The only difference between good and evil, at least in a universal standpoint to which it matters today to me, which my opinion can always change, just like a menu on a restaurant can alter based on the specials or the environment in which a fish market might have fresh fish on a certain day and have a different type of fish on a different day. So our opinions and our thoughts and these type of things need to happen at dinner tables. They need to happen within our family. We need not to be afraid of our uncle or our sister or our brother or the mailman or the next door neighbor dog if we differ with their opinions, or they dig a ditch that we're unhappy with, or they put up a privacy fence. There is a difference between having privacy and having a difference of opinion and then doing something heinous without purpose, without sensibilities. And until we get to that point, we are going to have a problem. And this is not a P's and Q's kind of prayers up message. This is a message that I've had enough. Being disabled, it took me a long time to get a job. It took me a long time to be in a position where I felt like I can control much. Just like those poor children who couldn't control much. Or the elderly people in the supermarket in Buffalo who couldn't control that they wanted Stouffer's mac and cheese and they got bullets instead. Sit with that for a moment. They went in for a meal. Food for thought, they say. It's supposed to help us reflect. It's supposed to help us remember, to contemplate, to not be afraid to be different, not be afraid to listen to opinions, to challenge our own thoughts, to challenge our own beliefs. But even values could change or alter or differ. But the sincerity in something being over, extinguished before we choose it, is unfair. Truly, unequivocally unfair. And I was aware of the situation last night, but the reason I didn't bring it up is because I'm a good person, I guess. And I mentioned in the beginning that I think bad people do things rashly. It's like a rash. It really is like a rash. They do things quickly, without thought, with burning sensations, with rage, with raw emotions. And I didn't want to put my co-host, Mike or Gov, in that scenario. I also didn't want to speak out of turn. I didn't want to misreport things like the mainstream media did with the shooter's grandmother calling her dead, then calling her alive, then calling her in critical condition. And so, again, good people, good actions, good deeds, these type of things happen with information, with knowledge. Just like the children's knowledge that were involved in Sandy Hook were robbed away from us. Just like the college students in 2006, 2007 in Virginia Tech, which Mike has a connection to, which is also a triggering environment for him potentially, and I didn't want to put him in that scenario. These things keep happening, have happened, probably will continue to happen, but the firefighters that are good, the people like me and you, we can't just post on social media. We can't just look at this unfortunate event as a sad occurrence. It's not a sad occurrence. There needs to be evil in the world so that way there can be a lot of things good to come from bad. Because without something being bad, we don't know what good is. Right? That makes sense. What we need to eradicate, however, is the senseless violence. It's not that a kid's going to act out or get in a fisticuffs at school or disagree with a teacher, or if you're at a checkout line and had a stressful day, you're going to get pissed off at the self-checkout line. That's good and bad, right? You need some bad experiences to justify or distinguish the positive experiences that they help us identify, to strengthen, to raise or remove the ladder, to have these grandiose moments, to climb. But to have senseless evil is demonic. And I mentioned how it took me a long time to get a job, but sometimes good things take a while. They take donations, they take organizations, they take perspective changes, and that is hard to do. That is hard to alter. That may never change completely. But when did it become so ideologized in our country to believe a Democrat or Republican or these political views or religious statements to be so regimented that we forget the number one quality of all existence is care. Care for ourselves, care for other people, care for even difference, because difference allows you to enjoy what you enjoy and allows me to enjoy what I enjoy. Because if we all enjoyed the same things, we would go to the grocery store and the things we would enjoy would be empty. They'd be gone off the shelf. So there has to be a flavor of the month for everyone. There has to be a difference, a salt and pepper ratio for everyone, garlic and onion ratio for everyone. This isn't a black and white issue, even though black and whites walk differently within the issue. If you ran a marathon, you're going to see different skill sets, runners, ages, groups, diversity, melting pots. If I invited you over for Thanksgiving, there's going to be different levels of chefs in the kitchen. Somebody might be better at making a dessert or an entree, or maybe they got more money, so their job is to buy more of the consumer based, easy made products, or they're going to bring paper plates, or they're going to buy the table. Everyone contributes, whether you like it or not, to the world. It's not about eradicating evil, guns, school systems, policies. It's not about hiding our children in homes and homeschooling. It's about understanding that when there is logic and there's emotions, we can't always control those things. And they're going to change person to person, experience to experience. What we can do, though, is control how we react to situations. And I've seen enough. And last night I didn't have enough information, so I used sports as a distraction. Much how we use sports as a distraction during 9/11. It didn't mean I didn't care about anyone in the towers. It was senseless, and like I say, good people use knowledge to justify actions. And I'm finally in a situation where I can not just say I'm a disabled individual who's been disenfranchised, discriminated against, overlooked, underlooked. People sent their children to school trying to learn. So I could be pissed at this guy. I could say, oh, I wish he was alive so he could get the death penalty. I wish I could do this. I don't know what I would do. Prayers. I could say 1,000 things. What I will do, though, because doing is trying and trying is doing, and trying can be hard, but trying is effectively doing something with effort and attention. And my intention is to not focus on the people we can't help, because those people may be too far gone. but we know one of the major factors of all these cases is mental health, which comes down to education for the children. You gotta empower people. You gotta give them a safe place to meet their neighbors, to meet their friends, to have a community, to have a baseline, a support beam, a balance beam. So I'm not going to go to Texas and donate money because I don't live in Texas. And sometimes we got to clean up our own messes. We got to pull out our own refrigerators, as you can see in the background. And we got to clean behind our own goddamn refrigerators before we point fingers at other people. So this year, now that I got a job, it was already the plan, but I will be giving more in the name of these children who no longer will be able to go to a library and learn. If we want to pick up weapons, fine, pick up guns. Just learn how to use the gun first. Use the tool for good, not bad. So that's why the only correlation I can find between mental health and education and learning and sports and all these teamwork activities is the library. So knowledge is power. Someone wants to bring an automatic weapon. Maybe I can't control other people. Maybe you can't control, you're going to Colorado to a movie theater. Can't control it. What you can do, though, is have a library card in your wallet. You can have knowledge, you have friends. Tell people you love them. There are people who aren't going to be able to tell that to their children, to their grandma, to their neighbor, to their friends, to their trick-or-treat partner next fall, to their football fan. And it's sad. And all we can do is learn from the past, prepare for the future, live in the current. And the place that keeps coming back in my mind for that kind of growth is a library. So I will donate a good portion of my disposable income relatively soon to a library in that honor. And to tie it back to sports and to give it some perspective, the whole reason I did this was so that you guys could hear Steve Kerr's comments. I don't care if this gets demonetized. I'm not going to show the video. I am going to play the audio. There is a fair play use in order here. As long as I talk over or talk with or contribute to the audio and I keep it in short bursts, I can play the audio. So that's what I'm going to do. Please, NBA, don't come at me with copyright, hopefully. And we're gonna just listen to Steve Kerr because he puts this very beautifully. No matter what side of the aisle you're on, no matter where you believe politically, whether you like steak and eggs or frittatas and pizza rolls for breakfast, be willing to adjust your opinion based on information and evidence. And it's evident we have a mental health problem, and whether that's fixing gun control first, whether that's listening to more news, listening to less news. Recently, I helped an individual, a friend, with anxiety, and it wasn't that they didn't want to learn or they didn't want to gather information. It was that the news, the media was so contrived on delivering news a certain way that the person couldn't handle it, and so they had to do what was best for them. So I'm not saying to run out and donate if you don't have the money. I'm not saying to listen to the news if it's triggering. What I'm saying to do, though, is keep your eyes open. Unplug the ears. Don't be afraid to read a children's book instead of a novel. Don't be afraid to read to your children if they cannot pronounce words in a bigger book. Don't be afraid to pick up a dictionary and learn a different word, language, transition, encyclopedia. Don't be afraid to even make mistakes because that's how we learn. To learn is to unlearn, and to fetch knowledge is to reach out. And sometimes when you reach out, it's a trustful exercise. Speaking of which, we have a professional coach who gets paid millions of dollars telling you that basketball doesn't matter. So that should speak to how things can change and how opinions can change based on the environment and the evidence and the kind of audience that certain things need. And in the moment, Steve Kerr was right. We're going to listen to his words now. This is only 2 minutes long. Again, YouTube, please, copyright reasons, don't come after me. This is important. Everyone should hear this.
Our team in the last 6 hours. We're going to start the same way tonight. Any basketball questions don't matter. Since we left shoot around, 14 children were killed 400 miles from here, and a teacher. And in the last 10 days, we've had elderly Black people.
For context, if you guys don't know, Steve Kerr faced a lot of childhood abuse, I believe, in his life. So this issue is very close to his heart, and you'll hear that raw emotion as he continues.
Killed in a supermarket in Buffalo. We've had Asian churchgoers killed in Southern California, and now we have children murdered at school. When are we going to do something? I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to the devastated families that are out there. I'm so tired of I'm sorry. I'm tired of the moments of silence.
Yeah, unfortunately, he was tired of the moment of silence, and then the NBA held a moment of silence. And Steve Kerr was respectful and did it. And I think that speaks to exactly what we need to do. Instead of saying I'm for gun rights or I'm for this and I'm against this, maybe try to find the median. Instead of looking for the yellow brick road, maybe just find the yellow stripes within the road. Don't go for the solver. Go for the healer. Don't focus on the people we can't help. Focus on what you already did. You know, I'm not going to post on social media. The only reason I'm doing this now is just so you can hear Steve Kerr, but I have to talk over it enough that they don't just give me a copyright. So, again, we'll continue.
Enough. There's 50 senators right now who refuse to vote on H.R. 8, which is a background check rule that the House passed a couple of years ago. It's been sitting there for 2 years. And there's a reason they won't vote on it, to hold on to power. So I ask you, Mitch McConnell, I ask all of you senators who refuse to do anything about the violence in school shootings and supermarket shootings, I ask you, are you going to put your own desire for power ahead of the lives of our children and our elderly and our churchgoers?
Notice how he said all these people, not just children, not just elderly, everyone. And he's challenging you, goddamn politicians. It's the longest three-point shot he's ever attempted to make. Because we know that politicians get in the way. We know the federal government gets in the way. Look at gambling laws. These individual states have to make illegal before the federal government will wake up and realize it's not as bad. Same with marijuana, same with a lot of these issues. And I'll say it, damn it. when we have evidence that marijuana helps, we have a lot of evidence that proves that gambling is no more of a healthy habit or, a healthy relaxation than going to a bar is any less or more. So don't act like these politicians care when they don't. That's what Steve Kerr is saying. He's saying, you want me to shoot my shot? Okay, I'll shoot a shot. I'll make it the longest distance shot you can make. It's not to say the NRA is right or wrong. We need to do better. We need to be better.
Because that's what it looks like. It's what we do every week.
Be better.
So I'm fed up. I've had enough. We're going to play the game tonight, but I want every person here, every person listening to this, to think about your own child or grandchild or mother or father or sister, brother. How would you feel if this happened to you today? We can't get numb to this. We can't sit here and just read about it and go, well, let's have a moment of silence. Yeah, go do.
Yeah, don't get numb to this. In fact, bleed today, cry today, sweat today, feel today, love today, even hate today. But hate that we have to do this, that we have to talk about this, but let this be the finger, the watercolors, the rainbow to the raining shots that those kids felt. Let this be the rainbow to hug your own children, to embrace your own neighbor, to invite them over for a hot dog or a dinner or a game or a hockey match. Give a child a beach ball at the beach next time you see them. Give them a smile, a wave, a gentle understanding. Hey, brother, we might be different. Hey, sister, we might be different. But we are more alike than we are different. And we are more alike, especially in our pain, in our anger, and our troubles, than we like to admit. Relatability is the best weapon for mental health illnesses there is. If you are struggling, find help, get help, be help, seek help.
Does, come on, Mavs, let's go. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go play a basketball game. And 50 senators in Washington are going to hold us hostage. You realize that 90% of Americans, regardless of political party, want background check, universal background check. 90% of us, we are being held hostage by 50 senators in Washington who refuse to even put it to a vote, despite.
Don't be held hostage any longer. Be the difference. Have a good day, guys.